Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Zooming in on really the role of empowerment in recovery. Empowerment is the connection with your own independent perspective, owning your own truth and seeing the value that you bring in any situation. And really what I'm finding with many of people who have been enmeshed in relationships with a narcissist or psychopathic abuser individual, someone who really in essence has violated their personal boundaries and has abused them physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, otherwise on many different levels, that this person, their boundaries have been annihilated. Their boundaries have been essentially betrayed, have been made non-existent. And really what I mean by boundaries, which means a sense of protection, not a personal wall, but essentially a line, if you will, a protective barrier, a psychological barrier where one exists and then the other begins. In boundary violation, it's when essentially one is broken down and one is made to feel or believe that they are subservient, less than, inferior to, or less deserving than somebody else. So it perpetuates the fallacy or the situation, a maladaptive understanding that one has got to deny their own needs, deny their own wishes, deny their own perception in order to validate another. So as we have discussed here on this channel, how important it is to have that healthy mirroring within childhood. Really the role of the parent is to provide that healthy mirroring, giving eye contact to the child, giving attention, giving a touch to that child. In other words, picking them up, not just putting them in a backpack, and then walking around the store, but actually holding them, picking them up, smiling in their face, mimicking them, giving them that sort of connection, because that's really how the infant responds, is through that initial mirroring. And that's how the child then, realizes at first they're at one with the parent, and then as they begin to, mature a little bit older, they then experience a sense of independence, a little bit of autonomy. They start to have their own feelings. They realize that they're separate from their parents, and then they grow and they test their world. And it's really the role of the parent to establish those healthy boundaries within the child, keep them safe, validate their perspective, let them know their first experience of right or wrong, safe or unsafe, true or not true, moral or immoral, and sort of create that foundation within that child. However, in personal empowerment really becomes sacrificed or reduced when there's a lack of these healthy boundaries. In other words, if you're not validated as a child, if you're not mirrored in a healthy manner as a child, if you're not taught essentially to believe in your own, to believe in yourself, to understand that your needs are natural and then how to take care of them, what is called healthy autonomy, and then essentially I believe what Erickson calls, the child psychologist calls, healthy industry within that child, which means just a healthy sense of navigating in their world. If they don't learn that, really the boundaries are violated, and it opens up that child to accept a lot of future abuse, violation, because they really just don't know how to stand up for themselves. It was not instilled in them in an early age. So it's very difficult to learn in the middle of that process and how to really instill those or install those, if you will. So really, people will then pick up on this at various stages in their life when they realize that something is wrong, and either they, perpetuate the codependence and perpetuate that cycle of kind of low self-esteem and not really having any boundaries and really not having much representation, to actually, becoming then later in life and realizing, hey, I've got a voice here. Something is really off. I'm feeling a huge void. Something is missing. I'm burdened with so much. And that's when the role of personal empowerment really becomes very important. and a very necessary tool to learn and start to implement in one's life right away. And realize that personal empowerment is really one of the main goals of this channel. Not only to understand the roles of the covert narcissist, the overt narcissist, the psychopath, kind of understanding a knowledge of them, and these people, how you can kind of plug in and to see how these people are in life, and perhaps people who you've known very closely, but really how to individuate and separate from the abuser, and realize that their attempts to target you and use you as your supply is something that is perpetuated by them, but you can essentially step out of the cycle and break that cycle. And that is termed, knowledge and then personal empowerment. And one of the most really important things I want you to realize as we work on this is to begin to say, I am. I am. Just those words. And also to just resonate the one word, trust. So to experience that trust within yourself, which is really, it's a big step when we learn to really emerge out of abuse and learn to trust yourself, trust your reality, your authentic self, your own perceptions, and validate your own opinions, your own viewpoint, and to have those really clear within you, so you can then communicate these in a safe and productive manner, and not just coming out of emotional rage or attack to others out of anger, but really how to cultivate these within yourself and lead to personal empowerment, which becomes really what Florence Scovel Shinn in her book The Game of Life and How to Play It, how she really describes this is casting this onto the Christ within. And this really pertains to any religion, so regardless of your religious background, whatever you might call that higher presence, really that sort of intelligence that really is part of the world, part of how the universe works, and tapping into that and realizing that the burden of trying to live that lie is something that you are now giving up, and then you're casting it onto the Christ within, or and the Christ also is existing within the world itself. So it's actually part of what is known as the quantum field, which is known in the study of quantum physics, where really it's really the realm of possibility. And so that's really what you want to tap into and begin to have more of an energetic experience with. And she, describes this in her book as really what she calls the superconscious mind, or the Christ within is the department which fights man's battle and relieves him of his burdens. So when you really begin to let go of these toxic people, you have to then really tap into and trust yourself, and really acknowledge your own perspective moving forward, and realize that once you do this, you're going to start to feel a very either a gradual or immediate change. And as you do this and you repeat I am, and then just really get to resonate the feeling of trust, you're going to resonate in a really profound and peaceful sort of emotional state and perspective, one that really is the absence of fear. And realize that so much of really I find that a lot of the the people who have been abused have been led such a life of struggle and fear and conflict. That's not where you want to spend a bulk of your life. That's just not productive for one's health, etc. So realizing this, really start to embrace the words I am, and also just say trust. Just really start to experience trust, and just see how this soaks in, especially in the next following weeks. See if you can begin to experience this, and then have that resonate some healing impact in your life. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.